Oh, hey everybody, welcome to Path of the Brush. I'm your host, Rick. I'm coming to you live from Hoplite Games in Lansing, Michigan, home of the Citizen Gamers. And it's kind of cool. We've got a lot of people playing games tonight. We've got some people playing Arkham Horror RPG. We got Flesh and Blood card game. We got some Marvel Crisis Protocol going on tonight. And, it's chaos reigns here always, and we're having a good time. We have a cool special guest tonight. It is our good friend Jacob from Friendly Skeleton. Let's bring Jacob up. The magic of whoa, there you are. Hey, Jacob.
I just appeared.
That's right.
You're the first guest to actually do that with us too. You know, it's
and of course, we've also got Mark and Will who are here every week as well, unless Mark is like on a vacation with his family, or Will's celebrating something else. So we'll fire them later. But it's great to have you, Jacob. For those of you that don't know, Jacob is a publisher, but currently you don't have any miniatures in your line. But we're going to talk a lot about the board games that Friendly Skeleton is putting out into the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're dabbling in some plastic, so at least we're not plasticless. But
all right,
no war gaming, no miniatures in our games, unfortunately.
Soon. I have a feeling that
a lot of trash though. A lot of trash though.
There's a lot of trash. There's a lot of trash. There's a lot of artistic abilities too in our games. I mean, Monstrosity is all about drawing. So
yeah, it's a great game, and it's one of our best sellers here at the store. Monstrosity and Fantastic Factories, and we're hoping that some of your new games will fly off the shelves as well as the community starts to find them on the shelf, and we push them towards it. Like, look at this game.
Well, it doesn't hurt. We're neighbors, Rick.
That's right.
We're not far at all.
Not at all. We're all Michiganders here today. If not born here, at least we're from here. You are up in Saginaw, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the Saginaw area. Tell us a little bit, Jacob, about your genesis, if you will, in the gaming space. Like, what was the thing that made you go, I think I'm going to become a publisher?
I was really interested in losing money, and I'm like, board game publishing. That's where it is.
Right. The old adage is, how do you make $1 million in board gaming? Start with 2 million.
You stole that from comics, which is where I actually started. My first foray into the industry was actually through the comic book industry. We worked with a bunch of different comic book publishers to make products for them. It was like my first business. That's where I met Rick, actually, before he was a board gamer, or before he got to full-time board game. He was full-time comic booking. That was like 10 years ago almost.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. Exactly 10 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, I started in that, and I was really interested in what this small website was doing for comics at the time, Kickstarter. And at the time, I mean, this is 2014, 2013, so board games weren't nearly as big as they are now on Kickstarter. And then I traveled to Asia, and I realized how big the market was in Asia, specifically Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for 9 months, and there was a board game cafe literally right across the street from me. And my first trip to Taiwan, my recreation activities were a little bit more, that of a 20-year-old. After I came back, and I was like, I don't know if I could do that all the time. Too much drinking. I was like, let's do something more wholesome. And I got really heavily into board games. My first game that kind of like really made me realize what board games could be was actually Pandemic Legacy.
Nice.
Yeah, so Legacy Season 1, I played it with 3 other people. One of the people spoke English, and the other 2 did not. So
interesting.
Yeah, Yeah, it was real interesting. I mean, a cooperative game where there's a language barrier is super cool. And we beat it in
Hmm.
12 games, which if you're not a board gamer, it's pretty decent. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Nice
10 is the
strategy.
minimum. Yep, yeah. It's not it's a beautiful game, and it got me really into board games, realizing
Mhm.
like there's a story you can tell with your
Yeah.
product, right? And you can really create a memory. I mean, I remember it
Yes.
now. That was oh man, that was like at least 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I remember the game quite well. Um, and then I came back from Taiwan and I started looking into the board game industry. This is like 2017,
Yeah.
and I started a company called Deepwater Games
Right.
with two of my friends from the Michigan area.
Hmm.
You may know us from Monstrosity. That's one of our big ones. But our first like big hit was a game called Welcome to,
Yeah.
which we signed as like our third title, and it
Right.
in 2018 it became like Game of the Year in a lot of reviews. So that kind of took us
Mhm.
on a whole different trajectory.
Yeah.
And then about 2 years ago, I purchased the company from my co-founders, and the rest is kind of history. We've rebranded, created
Hmm.
a company called Friendly Skeleton, and one of the cool accomplishments I've been able to do is the designer of Pandemic is the amazing Matt Leacock.
Hmm.
Great, one of the best people in the industry, just super nice guy. And we actually have a game with Matt Leacock called Flickering Stars that we're releasing next year. So
Nice.
um, it came
Congrats.
full circle. Thank you.
That's I believe I have a uh, demo copy of that here at the store.
You do. You are
Yes.
the only person in the country, only retailer in the country that has a demo copy. Look at this is the advantages of being local here.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. We've already had some people play it here at the store and they've enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, I think three of them are in the Arkham horror RPG right now tonight.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Um, so when I first met you, you were, if I remember right, we were at Wizard World Philly or Philly, yeah, Philly Comic Con, I think it was.
Yep.
Uh, and we all went out to dinner, and you were, I believe, trying to source games from Asia to bring to the United States, and you had these smaller games, if I remember right.
Yeah, we originally only did games from a company in Taiwan, and that was
Yes.
our first thing.
Okay.
And we did that for a while and kind of had some success with their games.
Hmm.
And then as soon as we did Welcome to, it was
Hmm.
like overnight just changed the trajectory of the company. So
Right.
sorry, I have some glare on my glasses here. I'm going to try to just adjust it a little bit.
Unacceptable, Jacob.
I know. I'm sorry. What an amateur here, guys.
So, and that was one of the things I thought was very interesting. But like you had said, one of your first like hits was Welcome to, because you guys, that game did bonkers on Kickstarter, if I remember right.
Yeah, we were actually. So I like to think that we were one of the first companies that did a reprint Kickstarter.
Mhm.
A lot of companies were not doing them at the time, and now they're like such commonplace.
Mhm.
But we did a reprint Kickstarter, and it did very well for a $25 product. It's
Yeah.
it's no CMON, but it did very very well. And
Yeah.
one of the cool parts about the game, we kind of got lucky. Um, it is a game you can play on Twitch. You can play on
Oh.
video calls. You can play uh, quite easily while other people are in other places.
Mhm.
And this just happened to be 2019, 2020 when it was really gaining steam. And then
Mhm.
with COVID, it
Yep.
really picked up. So
The
that was
dark
really
times.
it was dark time, but at least we had games to bring us together. Still, that's what I like to I like
Yeah.
to say. But
Absolutely. Games
You got
and
to find those silver linings.
yeah,
yes,
games and TikTok.
And now we have games and TikTok. Look at that.
That's
Games
right.
on TikTok.
That's right. It's wild, right? So, but you've mentioned that you now are rebranded as Friendly Skeleton, and you're working with a bunch of different game designers. Who's one of your designers that you're really happy, super excited that you're working with? And if I know who I think you're going to say, and that you've published at least 2 games by this individual if I recall right.
These
So
2 games. Oh man, now you're tricking me. First of all, Rick, all of my game designers are my favorite. So
in the moment
let's
or
start
always?
there. No comment. Yeah, one of the things I love about game designers, and I'll mention a couple, but one of the things I really love about game designers is they have such creative minds. It's like
Right.
it's beautiful to watch them work. I was on a call with today with Andrew Wolf, who
I love
designed.
Andrew.
Andrew's a freaking amazing. He
He's a
designed
machine.
my favorite deck building game, Hogwarts.
Hogwarts Battles.
Hogwarts Battles. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful game, and yeah, he's just a great designer.
Yeah.
But it's cool to watch him work. Like, a lot of times we'll get into a meeting and we'll just vibe and like come up with some new concepts on the fly. And
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest things about working with designers. I will say one of the best at that is Matt Fantastic. He is such a creative powerhouse. He just, he is filled with creativity.
Yep.
He designed Trash Talk along with Andrea Pincombe,
Mhm.
which is a really fun game. It's literally a game about possums and raccoons communicating via trash. So
So good.
It's my
so
wife's
good.
favorite game.
Nice.
No
I'm glad to
joke.
hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's actually when it was pitched to us, Matt had a lot of interest from different
Mhm.
studios, and he, blessed us with showing it to us. And actually, it was at Gen Con in 2022.
Yeah.
So it was not too long ago.
No.
And Matt showed it to us, and it was a 2-player game about communicating with an AI called Project Emily. And we took it from that and just like we riffed. It's the classic like yes and
Mhm.
situation. And that's
Right.
one of the cool things about working with designers is just that yes and mentality of like, how can we make this better? How can we make this more interesting? A lot of people think of like game design as like, okay, these are the components we have, and these are the rules, the types of rules I like, and this is what I want to do in the game, and this is engine build. I want to make an engine
Mhm.
building game. I love when designers kind of like jump that mold and just do
Yeah.
something different and something weird, like make a game about trash. So
Well, and bringing literal dumpsters to the convention to promote a game called Trash Talk is just brilliant. And don't you have is it a possum?
we
Or
have both a possum and a raccoon costume.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, we have
It's so
we
good.
have mascots. We've
Yeah.
named them. I named them after my grandparents
Okay.
because they do not know how to communicate. So that's always fun.
All right. All right. That is super
The
cool.
the raccoon is named Frank, and the possum is named Barb.
That's
So,
Okay.
which is even like possums are North American, Australia, and Barb is like a perfect Australian name to me. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to your process, well, you know what? Hold on. Let me ask this question in just a second. First, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat over on Twitch. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. We should probably tell you what we're painting today too. So I'm painting Apocalypse's tomb from Marvel Crisis Protocol. Apocalypse being the big bad guy from the X-Men. So yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah. So I'm working on the flames now, and gonna get those all based with yellow. Then do some reds and oranges and all the wonderful things to make it look like a burning fire, and that should be super fun. So that's what I'm working on tonight. How about
It's
you,
got some
Mark?
excellent
And Will?
texture to it.
We got some conquest from last week. Boom, boom,
All
there it
right.
is. And some of these Vochos and finish them up.
Ooh.
Yeah, these are fun. So
Nice.
I've got 12, and so I'm going to do some quick gang painting here. I just did one. Where is he? Okay, here he is. This guys. So I'm going to do all the leathers, do some skin, and then go back. There's like some little feathers and add some like little greens. It's supposed to be
Nice.
Nords, the Northmen. So I'm getting after that. But hey, while I'm on, I wanted to show you not just a conquest hat. It's my friendly skeleton hat. Hey, so thank you for the pin at Jim.
Perfect. That is awesome. And how about you, Will?
I've got a camera here too. What do you know?
Ooh, zoom in.
The what? So last week I unboxed the Founders Edition St. George and the Dragon from Conquest, and now it's
Nice.
assembled. Let me get this more in camera. This is the dragon.
Whoa.
That looks sick.
That's insane. Holy moly.
Very excited about this guy.
Nice.
And then there's the horse that goes on there. I'm getting some base coats down on that. And the guy who rides the horse. I got to do this in sub-assembly because I'm treating this one like dessert. I love this little bit here though. So the tail comes off of this.
All right.
And then this stand comes out that the horse is going to be on. So the horse I can actually use in the game. So I can still use this character in my armies and then put it back into the diorama.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's some form and function there, which I think is excellent.
They do good works over there.
Those guys.
Those guys in Greece. Very cool. All right. So the question I had for you, Jacob, is
Wait. You're not asking what I'm painting.
well, you know what you're painting.
What are you doing over there?
I'm painting Jam Session. Blake's Hired Cider.
All right.
You're
All
painting
right.
the town.
This is
That's right.
exactly this is a Michigan cider company. Very
Nice.
delicious. I don't
Very
know
cool.
how far they've made it out of Michigan, but I highly recommend them.
I think they have a little more than some of the other ciders. I think that's the bigger one for sure.
All right. So, Jacob,
Yes.
if a new publisher, let's say you go to a Protospiel or an Unpub event, what are things that you look for that speak to you as a publisher that you would maybe consider bringing a game into your library of available games and such?
Yeah, it for us it's a very unique process for how we pick product. I go a lot off of my intuition. So how I feel about a game. Versus like specific things that we're looking for. So, we do know our target demographic, right? So for Friendly Skeleton, our whole goal is to like bring more people to the board game hobby, right? So can we get your friend that, doesn't like board games because one time you tried to teach them Wingspan and it was way too long, or, they bought Scythe and didn't realize how much table space it took up. We're trying to get those types of people, or people that just don't understand like what games could be, So we do stuff that's super approachable, but still has like depth, so that players like us, that have experience, understand what makes a game good, can still play and enjoy it. It's that bridging of that gap. So for us, it's really looking at accessibility in a game, which we kind of boil down to three factors. Accessible for us is easy to learn, but also we want it to be affordable. And then the third aspect of accessible is representative. What is it about? What is the theme? Is it alienating to people? Or is it like a very open and understanding? Like everybody can enjoy raccoons and possums, right? That's a fun theme. That's kind of what we look for. We love working with first time designers too. The Monstrosity was Eric's second game. Technically,
Wow.
He had Tattoo Stories first, which is such a good game.
Tattoo Stories was
Bicycle.
Bicycle cards. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very cool.
He did post that he was looking for a publisher, so I think there may be a new version coming out. I don't know.
Ooh.
Cannot confirm or deny.
All right. All right.
Such a good game though. If you
Yeah.
have not picked it up, I think that they had it on discount because Bicycle
Mm.
I don't think is doing games anymore.
Mm.
It's obvious as a second time designer, but his
Mm.
first game was a very small game, and this is his first like big game.
Okay.
Welcome to was a first time designer.
Wow.
And then even Fantastic Factories, that was their first game they designed.
I mean, all those games, Welcome to Fantastic Factories, Monstrosity, are all, like you said, low barrier of entry, super fun. The one thing I like about like Fantastic Factories is the single player mode, which is
Oh, yeah.
amazing, right? Because I do have a lot of people that come to my store, and I would assume that multiple stores around the United States and world have players that come in looking for those single player games, or have the capacity of single play. So I think that's one of the cool things about like you said, your company is you try to make it accessible, low barrier of entry, but still have enough meat on the bone that any level of gamer can find joy in the product that you guys put out. So
Yeah, I mean,
really cool.
what I forgot is actually Cristallo, another first time designer and
Mhm.
completely solo. It's
Yeah.
I love. I mean, in this industry, we get really like caught up on like fads sometimes, and
Like cats or
what's
zombies?
popular. No comment. And I like to really push the limit and push the envelope when it comes to like. So a good example is Flickering Stars is
Mhm.
a. Now I won't tell anybody else. This is a secret between us and the chat here. It's a dexterity 4x game, which if you tell anybody about that, they're gonna be like,
Mm.
"A what game?"
Right.
But it's a really interesting combination of like these two different things that have almost never gone together. There's
Right.
like a couple examples in the catalog of like 20,000 games on
Right.
BGG. So
Right.
super fun to like be a mad scientist a little bit and just
Oh,
do
absolutely.
stuff different.
Absolutely. And you guys are definitely, if I were here at the store, because we have the board game, like people at Michigan State University that are getting degrees in game design. They come here, and I would say if someone were to come in here and do like a meet up and do some game design pitches or just workshops or whatever here, I would be looking if I were to say, "Ooh, I like that game for Friendly Skeleton." It would have to be the game that just doesn't really fit any genre, right? It's like, what is this, and why is it so goofy but yet fun, and yet, it seems like everybody's super engaged in the play at all times. Because that's another thing that I think a lot of your games have is if not most of your games, nobody's not playing at any
Mhm.
given moment. Monstrosity, everybody's playing at the same time, right?
Yep.
Fantastic Factory, same thing.
It's super important for us, right? Like I can tell you my attention span's low. So if my attention span's low, the average person, that's going into games, probably also has low attention span. I actually, so when I started off in the industry, I went a very different path. Um, you know, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic Legacy was my first game that kind of like showed me the beauty of what games could be. But then I played Scythe from Stonemeyer, and I'm like, that's what I want to make.
Oh.
And if you know Scythe and our games, they couldn't be more different.
So far apart.
Scythe is super approachable. I will say that
Right.
there is some approachability to Scythe compared to like other types of games in that. But yeah,
Like Twilight Imperium is a tough one. That's a tough sell. Twilight Imperium. I don't know if I could sell that to a new player. As far as like, you're going to find a lot of joy in this, and you will. But
8 hours later, and that'll be your first session.
I got really heavy when I first came back from Taiwan. I played Scythe, and then I started to get really heavy into. I bought Twilight Imperium before the new edition. I bought Food Chain Magnate. I
Mm,
bought all sorts of the heaviest games you could possibly find, and then I started to try to play it with people.
mm,
And I think that's part of what like kind of led me on that path, trying to play those games with other people. Because
mhm.
I'm not originally from Saginaw, but my
Right.
town also did not have a lot of board gamers.
Right.
So even in that situation, right, I grew up in the outskirts of Chicago. Um,
Right.
so even at that time, it was hard to find people that would be willing to learn Food Chain Magnate.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so I'm like, okay, maybe I'm approaching gaming a little bit wrong from what I want to do with it. So
Mm,
yeah, it's been quite a journey.
sure.
Um, and I love one of our most recent games. Actually, I didn't grab a copy here. Um, we did our first game for kids recently.
All right.
Now it's not just for kids, but it is 6+. And this is our youngest age group
Oh, nice.
game. It's in Target right now, as well
Nice.
as retail stores. It's called Speed Colors.
Okay.
The game is literally about memorizing cards and then coloring them. It's that simple.
Oh wow.
And it's super approachable though. I've shown it to like 80-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and both groups like it. So it's quite a beautiful game.
Target's a good get too, so congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Target. There's hobby will always have a place in my heart, but
Yeah.
for emerging markets, like a lot of people shop at Target that don't know
Yeah.
about the beauty of Hoplite or other game stores like it. So
100%. I think one of do you remember? I don't know if you will remember this. I don't know if any of the others would remember this, but back in the day, 1,000 years ago,
uh-oh.
in the late 1900s, um, uh, my first experience, and I'm gonna not with gaming, but with like comic books, wasn't a comic book store. It was on a circular rack, either at like IGA, the grocery
Isn't
store.
that's like middle 1900s. Let's
Yeah, in the late,
Right after the plague,
right,
the
right, right,
mastodons, they finally went extinct.
right. It was literally the day after Woodstock, right? Um,
Man, you're just got done playing there, picking up the trash.
that's right. So
Right in between Woodstock and Lollapalooza. Like right in the middle there.
great. So yeah, my first experience with comic books was in a comic book store, and I know a lot of people's first experience with board gaming isn't going to be a board game or tabletop specialized store. It's going to be Target, Walmart, Amazon. It's going to be these big boxes, but that doesn't mean that if a publisher markets it inside their box, like I know a lot of publishers will have a little catalog in there that'll show all the games from their line, and at the end, sure you could find this and many others at your friend at Target or whatever, but there could always be that find these games and more at your friendly local game store, and that might open some eyes to some people that may not be, um, you know, initiated, if you will, to our
Or
The
space.
fact,
wherever fine games are sold.
yeah, the fact that you can grab a game like Life of Rotera, which is like super brilliant, super
Hmm.
approachable game by Ken Gruhl and Eric Lang, and also buy underwear from the same place, and also buy
Uh-huh.
uh, you know a TV, at the same in your same
Yeah.
shopping cart is like
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
One of my stories that I like to tell is when I first got into the industry and
Hmm.
started going to conventions was in um, uh, late 2019. I like really heavily got into the industry,
Right.
and one of the first big meetings I had was with Hasbro. And if you
All
don't
right.
know, Hasbro has this amazing person, one of the nicest people in the entire industry. Her name is Tanya, and she does all of what we call inventor relations, IR.
Mhm.
And so she takes all these ideas, and she gets thousands a year,
Yeah.
and she says no 99% of the time, and then that 1%, then she says no to the 50% of that 1%. So she's got a really tough job, but she's such a beautifully kind person.
Mhm.
And I go into this meeting with Tanya, and I'm just telling her how much I hate that mass market. Target and Walmart doesn't have games that aren't about poop.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like,
And yeah. Oh, going back to trends.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it was like, and she was very kind about it. She agreed with me. And then when I got out of the meeting, I told somebody that story, and they're like, Tanya works at Hasbro, which does like a ton of poop games, right? I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh crap, literally.
Yep. Tons of poop games, tons of like pimple popper games and all this other weird stuff like that. You're right.
And now 5 years later, and they have a strategy game that's like on par with a lot of other strategy games for $30.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
It's so cool to see.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
said you were going to grab a game that you want to like mess with us with or play with us.
Okay.
What game did you get?
So we have a new game. It came out at Gen Con. And we have it exclusively at Books A Million and a store called Hoplite have copies of this game.
That's right.
Have we heard of that one?
No, I don't think so. Rick, I'm trying to like impress you here. I changed to a green shirt for you.
Oh,
nice.
Is green your favorite color, Rick?
For
it
the
is
store's logo.
So yes,
It's a good logo.
So green actually is my favorite color, which is great, and it brings out the brown in your eyes. So
thank you.
I'm
not going to go easy on you with this game because of that, Rick. I hope you know.
Right. I appreciate that.
I thought it would be a good, fun thing. It's obvious. So It's Obvious is basically a game about opinions, and your opinions may be wrong, or your opinions may be right. Now we're not going to play the game because I don't want to distract you too much from painting. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions, and then we can have like a nice, lively debate on what's the right opinion on those questions here.
Okay, and maybe we can get
very excited to share my opinions on the internet.
It's never been done.
Opinions on the internet?
Yeah.
No way.
I think we should also see if we can get the chat involved for everybody that is still over there.
Yeah. And we did get a hello from Mama Woes and Tabletop Test Drive earlier.
Just so you guys know, Tabletop Test Drive is me.
Oh, well, hello there.
Yeah, I was just trying to say hi to the folks in the chat.
Well, never mind then. Take it back, everybody.
You'll have to ignore all those flirty DMs that I just sent you then.
Perfect.
You accidentally sent them to me. All right, let's see here. Let's go with... Okay. So this is the one that I personally love here. So the way that the game would normally work is we'd get a prompt. That prompt would have an A and a B side. In this example, or black and a white side. In this example, the white side is, it is possible to drive under a moose. And the black side is, it's impossible to drive under a moose. And what would happen is you would secretly put one of your cards in the middle, matching the color that you agree with. So black if I think it's impossible to drive under a moose, or white if I think it is possible to drive under a moose. Once everybody put their card in, we would mix them up, and then we would reveal what the majority answer is.
Okay.
And if you're in the majority, you're trying to find who isn't. And if
All
you're
right.
in the minority, you're trying to pretend that you agree with everybody else. So yes, it is all about kind of having opinions, and then sometimes your opinions are not right. So you have to pretend
Nice.
your opinions are the opposite. So
Okay.
do you guys think it's possible to drive under a moose, or it's impossible to drive under a moose?
Possible.
Absolutely
Possible.
possible. You
I
didn't
agree.
exclude like Shriner cars or big
Right.
wheels.
So here's
Two wheels, motorcycles.
so one of my one of the people that I've worked with the longest, his name's Muzzy. He does all of our product design and graphic decisions. He sends
Yeah.
me every video he can possibly find about moose related driving accidents. He is dead set on the idea that moose, you cannot drive under a moose. You will die. It will kill you. And I'm like,
that is a rarefied friendship. That's something you have to treasure.
truly, I'm saying, like, let's just talk about best case scenario. The moose is on a steep hill. I'm luging down a mountain. I can definitely go under that moose.
Yeah, you're like Cool Runnings down losing, you know.
Yeah, if I'm Cool Runnings, I can get a whole team under a moose.
Yeah, you and the rest
Right.
of the Jamaican bobsled team.
Exactly.
I love it.
If I would say if I'm a big guy on a little scooter, I could drive underneath a moose.
I like
For
it.
sure.
I like it.
Good.
Will,
They're
did you say
huge.
Mario Kart?
Oh, I said like a go-kart or
A go-kart.
yeah, you didn't exclude like big wheels or go-karts or anything like Shriner cars or anything like that.
Mhm.
Truly, I mean, the moose doesn't have to be walking. There is nothing in there that says the moose is walking.
He just took a little chill. He's chewing his cud. Do they chew cud? I don't know.
I'm
He's
sure they
taking a
do.
little- yeah, he's taking a little. There's a boxcar race at the top of of a hill in Isle Royale, Michigan. You're getting chased by wolves, and the herd of moose just stopped right there, chewing its cud, and a couple are getting through for sure, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that was a very Michigan response.
Isle Royale, where there are moose.
You're on
there.
Isle Royale.
It's 4:30 in the morning. All right,
Soapboxing it. That's amazing.
So okay, let's. You guys want another one here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep
absolutely.
them coming.
Okay. Here's a good one. Ghosts are real. Ghosts are not real. So me personally, ghosts are real. I live in a house from 1909. Yeah, I have not seen a ghost, but I have definitely experienced a ghost.
And
I am not making any assumption onto what a ghost is, but I do know that they exist.
this may tip off my opinion here, but when you said you may have not seen a ghost, and I was going to say, and neither has anyone else.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
well, okay.
All right. So this leads to a funny story, and I apologize, Mark, because I'm guessing you believe in ghosts.
That would be the game right there if you could figure it out.
Is when I was like first out of the military and doing some other stuff, some crazy stuff. I would go to Dragon Con and I'd be on the supernatural track where people like from Ghost Hunters would come and do panels and stuff like that. But I worked with John Zaffis, who did Haunted Collector, right? And I was the skeptic on the panels always. And so I am a skeptic to it. I think that I don't know. I don't think there are actually ghosts out there. So
Okay.
but if there were, I could really go for a massage right now, Patrick Swayze.
You got to be on a clay, throwing some clay on a wheel. That's
Exactly.
I'm painting here. I think that's artistic enough to draw him in to like give me a shoulder rub and maybe whisper sweet nothings in my ear. Though I can't hear him because
you're too good at it. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
That could be
You
it.
need to
Was
be
it-
learning something.
Was it the Righteous Brothers that played during that scene?
Yeah,
Yes.
it
You
was.
got that love and feeling.
Mhm.
I would like to believe.
Mm.
Would
I
like
haven't seen-
to.
I would like
Uh-oh.
to, yeah. I would say I'm a ghost believer because why not? But someone said something funny the other day, and they're like, with everybody with a phone in their pocket, you'd think they'd take one photo of a ghost. Maybe that was Will, super skeptic.
That was me.
Oh, all right. I don't know. I think it's too cool not to believe, so I am a believer.
Well, I don't know why you guys would believe it, because here's the thing. Will, like you said, you're a non-believer, and the whole thing, if they existed, they'd take pictures of it, right? Because we've all got our cell phones. But don't you find it weird that I could take a picture right now of something in front of me with my cell phone and it'd look awesome? It would look clean, crisp, high res, whatever. But ghosts, just like aliens and Sasquatches, everything's blurry, and we got these high-tech cameras on all these vessels and planes and stuff, but they're only catching these blurry imagery.
All right, I'll tell you a ghost story about our house, which
All right.
is- I could get in trouble for this because we're in the house.
Oh,
They may be listening.
all right.
So we moved into the house 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in January, and my partner can sense stuff. And when I moved to Saginaw, I was a big skeptic. I did not believe it at all. I thought
Okay.
that all of it was faked. Saginaw, it has the record for like most haunted city in Michigan.
Okay.
So we were basically the lumber capital of the world. So there's a lot of lumberjacks doing stuff they shouldn't have and killing people.
Very Wild West.
Very Wild West. The building our headquarters was in had a safe because of all of the robberies that were in the area in 1900s. We were real fun. So did not believe, but my partner is just sensitive to these things. I think one of the points I would make against Will here is that literally there are some people that cannot sense it at all, and some people that can sense it. So camera doesn't necessarily use the same technology that like it's not can you see it with your eyes, it's can you perceive it with the energy and the feeling in the room, which of course there's the whole argument about that. But here's the story. My partner and I were in the kitchen, just hanging out. It was probably 5-6 months into us owning the house, and she sees an apparition, a face, and then she describes this face down to like the smile that it had, the type of hair that it had, its height, its complexion, and then I look up past owners of the house, and it is the exact description of one of the owners that we had never seen before, who had passed away 2 years before. So we had never met this person, never seen a photo of them. And it wasn't just like, it was a man with a beard. It was, the guy had like a hair lip, and he had very specific eyes and very specific hair, so it was not a generic description at all. Yeah. So I don't know. I want to not believe.
Right. So you're gonna wake up tomorrow and you're gonna have some scratches on your chest or your back or your arms or something because we upset the apparition or apparitions in your house.
Hey, I don't want to upset anybody. How about that?
Yep, that makes sense.
I don't begrudge anybody their experiences, and I understand like why anybody would want to believe. I've just known too many people who've been fleeced by grifters saying they can talk to the dead.
Oh, for sure.
That it's very skeptical about that.
I don't believe in that. I don't believe that
Immediately,
we can just talk to the dead. I don't think that's real. But I do believe that energy can be perceived by people, and
Okay.
sometimes when you pass away, you leave your energy.
We should have had
Let's
you
do-
on for Halloween. This would have been the perfect Halloween episode.
Right? I agree. What the heck?
I know, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit lighter in the subject here.
All right.
So, do you save a cable with an unknown purpose or get rid of mystery cables?
Um,
I'm an IT guy.
what?
I'm an IT guy, and I
Oh,
would
okay.
save a cable with an unknown purpose.
I would also save this cable. I have a cable box.
I would also
Mm.
trace it and find out if it needed to be removed. If I put it in there, if it was in there on purpose, I would find out.
Do you have a cable box, Rick? Oh, there we go. Mark's cable box.
I also have one of those, but I don't.
Fun, it came in handy. It came in handy. I told you.
The first time.
My whole reason I have a very similar box is because, like how he just said it came in handy is, I don't know when I might need this. I can't throw this out. I might need this old cable adapter for a VHS or VHF,
Wait a minute. Come on.
yeah, Atari 2400 from the early 80s, because you never know.
Yeah, I mean, you could never have enough printer USBs, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
USB-Bs are very difficult to find. I hear you.
This actually made me think of another prop too.
I've got 20 years. No, probably more than that. 30 years of cables in this box. No, it's probably 20 years. And yeah, some of them are outdated. Like,
You have a
That's
SATA
hilarious.
cable in there?
Oh my God.
why do I have this one? Right? Is that VGA?
There you go.
VGA or what is this one?
VGA to what though? Is it just
Yeah,
a
that's
VGA?
Yeah, VGA to VGA.
Why?
What else? Is out here? This is great.
They
Rick,
were.
I don't-
You couldn't get a monitor without VGA cables until like 10 years ago. Like, every single Dell monitor I ever ordered at work is like for a long time. We had this stack of VGA cables,
VGA
literally-
was a long time.
and,
Oh, here
and
we
to
go.
the point of like holding onto that equipment for a long time. I think it's been 2 years, but I've had to pull out my 3.5-inch floppy drive. I keep one just in case.
Are you hacking a government from 1980? Like,
I'm saving people's pictures.
ah,
They left on a-
well,
left on a
make me
3.5-inch
feel
floppy.
bad about it.
Yeah.
I have this right on my desk. I was literally playing with it today. It's VGA.
Oh my God.
Okay. To
I love it.
HDMI.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
The hotness
Yeah,
right there.
That's a rare one right there, guys.
Heck yeah.
This is because I wanted dual monitors, but I was using an old monitor. I was like,
It'd
how
be
do
like
I
going from Technicolor to 1080p.
I've got. I can't unplug it or I'll lose my light. But I've gotten a USB-C adapter attached to my laptop that has HDMI and VGA right next to each other,
Oh my
my.
God.
Wow.
along with Ethernet. It's like a miniature docking port.
Jesus.
I just came up with one while we were talking, which is the beauty of this game.
Mhm.
Is that it's just stuff that you talk about. Now, the cool part is if there was somebody in this room or in the game that didn't have saved their mystery cables, they would try to come up with a bunch of lies about cables that they own, and then we could grill them about how many VGA cables that they have.
Right.
Right. In between Will's docking port and 3.5-inch floppy, like this story's getting wild. You know what I mean?
Dongle talk.
Yeah, it's just we're just talking dongles.
Real speak, but dongle is a great word. I mean,
It is.
I don't know how many times I was like, oh crap, I'm running a Mac at work and things. I'm like, oh, I forgot my dongle, and they're like, what the hell's a dongle? You know, I'm like you don't know?
You kids. You
I
guys
was
ready
also
for
just
another one?
hovering over the
Yeah,
HR
absolutely.
button.
This is great,
Absolutely.
by the way. This is the best.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go with okay. I don't know where the card is, but this is one of my favorites. And since you guys are painting, this is perfect. Watermelons are red, watermelons are pink.
You're pronouncing it wrong. It's watermelon, right?
Yes, watermelon. And watermelons are green is not an acceptable answer, and that kind of nonsense will get you kicked out.
That's right.
They're what color? Pink or red?
Pink or red?
Yeah.
Pink is a shade of red, so they're red.
I would say they're red as well. A nice juicy piece of watermelon, super red.
Yeah, it's gotta be red. If it's pink, it's like watered down. It's like very old. You know, it's like
Yeah.
dye that whoever puts the red dye in those bad mama jammas. You know, it's just faded out.
I think you guys are all wrong.
What?
Oh, man.
That watermelons are pink. Not only, okay, so hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Most watermelons you get are definitely a pink. They're the red, the like vibrant red does not exist in watermelons usually. Also, any sort of imagery of a watermelon, be it in art, be it in candy, is always pink. Always pink.
I think
Watermelon
you're older.
Jolly Ranchers are pink.
I mean, Jolly Rancher is pink. You're right.
Right?
I mean, you're right in yes. All iterations beyond the
Very
actual
decent red,
watermelon
though, right? Or is that
is
cinnamon?
pink. What?
Red.
Hold on here. Hold on.
What?
What are you
Let's
saying there, Mark?
Go to the image. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Ah!
We're taking
That
this for the tape.
Yeah,
See-
that's altered. That's altered.
Yeah.
It's photoshopped. All right. All right.
It's
The
Photoshop.
watermelon is not. It's not an accurate depiction.
Well,
Let's
anytime you
really
see-
Michigan right now. Somebody run to Meyer and grab
right.
grab a
It's a miracle if you can right now this time of season. You know, to get a fresh
Well,
watermelon.
You also have to realize too, when you look at a food picture on the internet, it is doctored because like when you see like a IHOP commercial and they're pouring maple syrup onto their thing, it's actually like motor oil is what they're pouring on because it has a much better camera feel, I guess.
Shaving
right?
cream is for like whipped cream, and that is true.
Yeah. So that's doctored.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
He
Go
might,
for it.
Photoshop.
watermelon's pink,
he
and
might
we're all
be right.
losers and have a giant thing of cables here. Look at this. It's coming handy.
Hey, that's a pretty good. That's a valuable cable right there.
Right. I don't know how that got in there because that's in my vintage gaming area, but somehow it got thrown in there. So someone's in trouble. I don't know. Not me.
That's right.
Yeah, that one was a surprise to me when somebody brought it up, and it is one of those topics where, you know, the one of the fun parts about game design, right, is content design,
Mm-hmm.
and the design for this content was just insane. We got with some fantastic writers like Grant Lyon, you know, who Grant Game recommends or something like
Yeah.
that. I can't remember the last.
Grant's Game Rex.
That's what it was.
Mhm.
And then the team behind Joking Hazard, Matt
Jesus.
Fantastic joined us, and
Mhm.
we just got to come up with the craziest things. And we actually, it sounds so stupid, but we do actually have like a rating system and a methodology behind the way that we choose prompts.
Okay.
And you know, it almost seems like, oh well, you know, just do dog or cat, or just do, you know, winter or summer. But we really
Mhm.
were very intentional on how we wrote these prompts because we wanted a fun discussion, you know, and stuff you didn't know about people.
Right. Absolutely. So here I have one.
Oh, perfect. Let's do it.
All right, so here's the one I have. When lick the brush or don't lick the brush.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, well, here's my thing. I'm a lick the brush guy. Now,
Yeah.
I know that I'm drinking alcohol instead of painting, but I am my actual first foray into the industry was Warhammer and Warhammer 40K.
Yeah.
My town had a bunker, which used to be the Games Workshop branded stores. They only had a couple around the country, and they were so cool. The store was huge and had tons of gaming tables and scenery and all of the exclusive stuff. And we would go to like midnight drops. But they also did painting tutorials before Twitch, before you could learn it online.
Yeah.
And I got taught by Tim License. I don't even think he's in the industry anymore, but he was a Golden Demon winner for painting.
Nice.
Yeah, and he licked the brush.
So I am a lick the brush guy, and because I've seen people do where they'll take the brush and they'll like take it in the crook of their hand and they'll roll it to get a sharp point so they aren't licking it. But I'm like,
and it
sharp
tastes
point.
good.
Yeah, like right now I'm doing like
It's
tin
hydration.
foil.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know why people would say don't lick the brush.
Yeah. Well, there was the whole Radium Girls, but
Like back in the day, again
Yeah.
in the late 1900s.
Yeah, when Rick was buying comic books.
Off the rack. Like it used to come in a plastic bag, and half it was blacked out. Those comic books.
Yes, yeah, three comic packs, stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
yeah. But back in the 80s, 1980s, there was most miniatures were painted with testers. Do not lick the brush.
No.
Painting with testers. Don't even sniff the paint when painting with testers, right? But with the new acrylic lines that are available and everything, they're non-toxic. So yeah, whatever.
All right, Rick, are you going on record saying that you like to eat paint?
Dirty paint liquor.
That's right.
Yellow belly paint liquor.
That's right.
What about you guys?
Every Gen Xer is a paint chip eater,
Yeah. Well, Mark, do you guys lick the paintbrush?
Not yet. I'm sure it's in my future. At some point,
I have done it before.
I'll get a fine tip. And fine.
I was gonna say, Will, are you dry brushing everything? What's going on over there?
Not yet. No, I'm not a dry brush again. But I do have it. I got a nice little cup here that's got. It looked very strange when I got it in the mail, because it came like that. So, like
this show's getting off the rails.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, shut the front door.
Oh my goodness! I'm actually just drinking a Waterloo here. BPA sparkleness. You can, you got to be careful putting those paintbrushes in your mouth. You can pop a tooth.
That's true.
What?
That's true.
You pop a tooth.
Yeah. So
what are you doing with a paintbrush?
So I am missing a tooth right here. Right.
Well, that's an easy entry for the paintbrush.
It is now, and that's the side. See, that's the side that I will lick the brush on. So I used to do a painting. I used to do a painting show on Game Trade Media called Painting Happy Little Minis with Dave Taylor, who's a well-known industry painter and display builder for miniature games. In an episode before literally the week of Gen Con 2019, we're in studio. We're doing one of my final episodes with the company, and I'm licking the brush, and it gets lodged in between my two teeth here because I had a little bit of a gap. And Dave said something that was funny, and I went, "Oh, that!" And it snapped my tooth on camera live, right out.
Oh man.
I was going to say
could
you had a gap, but now you have an even bigger gap.
That's all it is. It's not a missing tooth. It's just a gap between two teeth. And you can actually go back on YouTube and go under Game Trade Media and go to the date. Like I think it was the Tuesday before Gen Con 2019, and watch that episode and watch me pop my tooth out.
You should. That's a TikTok right there, Rick.
Right. It is.
How I lost a tooth when I was painting.
That's right. Yeah.
Full contact painting.
That's
Full
right.
contact painting.
That's the best. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that.
I got a lot of like weird looks at that Gen Con as I'm going around taking meetings with different publishers, and they're like,
You play
Something's
hockey?
different.
You play hockey?
Something's different with you, Rick.
That's amazing.
And I will say this: I don't like to bag on anybody or anything in general, but the reason I don't have like a implant or a bridge or anything in there is because I have to deal with the VA for my medicine, my medical and dental, and it's been a hassle trying to get in, to get seen, to get that taken care of. So come on, VA.
You should just put some green stuff in there.
No. Also, do not put that in your mouth. Wow. Yikes, no. All right. So it's the game it's obvious.
Yep. It's obvious. It's at select retail stores as well as Books A Million.
Nice.
Books
So
A Million has it.
how do you get into like places like Books A Million and Target or Walmart or Meijer, or these big box stores, right?
It's a process. It's a real big process. I am obsessive about it. So I for the longest time, part of the reason I brought up, poop-based games to Tanya was, I was very interested in the mass market, just because, who determines who gets on the shelf, what gets on the shelf, and I was fascinated with that. And when I first started, a lot of people were dogging on mass market as the lowest common denominator, and you can only get things in there if it's a child can play it. And like as time has gone on, we have found that is completely false. And there's been some great games that are in there, and some games that start in mass market, and the process is very difficult. The first part people don't realize is
someone eating chips or something. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's me. I'm putting away.
Oh, okay. I'm like, is someone eating chips? I'm like, who's eating chips? I don't see anybody like putting anything in their mouth.
Popping packing bubbles. With some popping packing bubbles, like just all the
chips. Eat chips on a video stream, or wait until it's over.
Right. No, I'm just sitting there going, who's eating chips? Why isn't there enough for everybody?
But yeah, no. So the process, actually, a lot of people don't know. It starts about 8 to 12 months before the game ever gets on shelves.
Okay.
So, it is a very long process because, just like Hasbro gets pitched 3,000 games, Target probably gets pitched 500, each season. It's if not more, so they have to, whittle it down and figure out exactly what they want on shelves, and hopefully pick something that will sell well. And that whole process can take up to 4 to 5 months.
Wow.
Of that 8 to 12 months. So it's something that a lot of publishers don't do, because not only is it difficult because, mass market only takes, probably 30 to 50 games a year is if you're talking about like something like Target. But it's also something that just takes a long time.
Yeah,
And
for
you
sure.
have to have things ready way earlier than
Mhm.
most publishers are comfortable with.
Right. And because they're taking on probably a mass amount in their order, they probably want a bigger discount than what you would normally give to like a uh, mid-tier like distributor or industry known distributor. You know what I mean? Like Alliance,
The
ACD,
discount
yes.
is actually this is also not commonly known. The discount is not that much larger than a
Okay.
distributor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
good.
yeah, it's the margins are there. The trickier part is buybacks and discounts
Oh
that they
yeah.
may ask if your product is not selling. So, well,
That's
you
that's
get
interesting.
yeah, you get about the same amount of margin, depending what the deal is.
Right.
Everything is kind of unique, but it's more where the price configuration can change is really
Mhm.
in that discount and
Right.
and buybacks. Buybacks
Okay.
are hard.
Yeah, for sure. And do a lot of them ask to have some sort of exclusivity with the game? Like, let's say with Monstrosity, like 5 exclusive monster or cryptid cards within the target monstrosity or stuff like that.
That's a great question. We actually have an exclusive version of Trash Talk
Okay.
at Barnes and Noble right now. It's everything you get in the normal game, except for you get a white ampersand in the box, which
Okay.
is if you're familiar with Barnes and
Barnes and
Noble, it's
Noble.
their logo. So
Yeah.
we thought it was a really fun addition, and so basically you get 11 pieces of trash versus 10.
Nice. Okay.
But I will say that has been changing. A lot of mass market channels have seen how useful it is to have the product also in hobby stores.
Right.
So they're pushing less for exclusives because they want people like you, Rick, talking about the
Mhm.
product. And if you don't
Right.
have it in your store shelf, you may not know about it.
Right.
So it's been a really interesting. Most of the time, what they'll do is like what you described, an exclusive promo. What we'd call
Hmm.
in the industry a promo that's included in the box. But in reality, they don't want to just be the only one usually,
Okay.
which is cool. The market
Yeah.
evolves. People
Yeah.
are evolving and their taste and
Yeah.
temperature for games.
Yeah. I just remember again, like 2017 to 2019, you would see that would be a really big thing at the big box stores is Target exclusive, even if it's just a different box color, right? That is different than hobby, right? So it's interesting. I I
Yeah,
would I would expect that the meet you probably take more meetings around getting into the big box spaces at like events like Toy Fair or any of the other big toy shows around the states if you do attend those or trade shows, right?
yeah. The buyers only go to certain places.
Mm-hmm.
So um, the buyers most like Barnes and Noble and Target buyers do go to Gen Con.
Mm-hmm.
And they love going to Gen Con. It's like their favorite show
Nice.
because they get to see so much all at
Yeah,
once. And as you guys know, Gen Con's a spectacle.
it is.
So it's always fun to watch new buyers go to those shows. Books a
Right.
Million also goes to Gen Con, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll go to trade shows.
Yeah.
So we meet
Okay.
with them probably 2 to 3 times a year
Okay.
um, to talk about products and
Mm-hmm.
what the changes are in the market.
Nice.
And it's really cool. I mean, it's for us it's exactly what we want to be doing, right? We want to be
Right.
getting the product in front of new consumers,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is that's exciting for me.
No,
Um,
absolutely. And I think it's exciting. It should be something that a lot of the industry should be excited about, right? Because if families are going to Target, because I like my sister-in-law, love her to death. Target is like her third place. That's her third place. She goes to Target. She gets her coffee and she walks around and she may not buy anything. She always buys something. She, but but she takes her kids. right? They go and they always walk up and down the toy aisle, or at least one, and before she's like, I can't buy you all this stuff or whatever. And that exposure to our hobby is down there, and it is definitely bringing more people to the gaming table. All right, it's not stealing sales. I don't think it's stealing sales from the hobby shops. What it's doing is it's potentially creating new consumers. It's just a matter of like, if you own a hobby shop, what are you doing to market your store to those new potential consumers, instead of just I open my door and turn on the open sign and I have built it, they will come, right?
Yeah.
Because there
I
are
mean,
like that.
well, I mean, just think about it with the comic book industry, like
Mhm.
you go into a comic book shop and a majority of the people in there are, people that have their favorite hero and then
Mhm.
want to discuss that hero versus Hulk. Or
Always.
why the Boom Studios canceled this title, or
Sure.
and it can be very scary and intimidating
Mm.
for new consumers
Yeah.
to enter those spaces. And comics specifically has a huge issue of adding new people to the industry.
Yes.
It is a dying industry in a lot of ways, and
It is.
board games doesn't have that problem nearly as much. I mean, it's
No.
growing.
Exactly. So this is a good another interesting story about when you compare those two industries, right? Because having worked, both of us, and Mark and Will read comics and stuff as well. Obviously, play
They're the
games.
ones arguing about Hulk versus
Everybody, anybody.
I'm just thinking about how I first got my very first Wolverine episode from a circle rack at the local, gas station. So I'm also from the dark ages.
Yes. we knew what dinosaurs were. We seen them. So it's interesting because like my boss, when I worked at one of the larger distributors in our space, was very much a focus on comic books guy, right? And I would tell him, like, yeah, San Diego Comic Con, New York Comic Con, they're fun, they're cool, but I will guarantee you'll have a much better experience at a gaming convention than at either one of those. And he's like, oh, no way. Because when you go to a comic book convention, for the most part, people like at San Diego, New York, are standing in lines to get exclusives. They're angry.
Yep.
They don't want to be standing in line. They don't. And then if they get up there and the one they wanted is sold out, or the amount that they allocate that day have now been sold out, they're angry. And so there's a lot of like weird energy in that regard at Comic Cons. And plus, you don't share your comic books with others normally. When you're looking for that issue, you're at the comic book dealers tables, and they got their long boxes out there, and you have your notebook, because they still just use spiral notebooks and write down their wish list or wants or needs, and it's on the box next to them, and they're flipping through. And if I walk up near them, they kind of like move so that you're behind them, and they're looking right.
Don't see this one that I just found. Yeah.
Right. I'm treasure hunting, and that's fine and good and well. I took him to his first Gen Con when I was working there, and he saw it immediately, because you could be at a booth, right? I could be at Friendly Skeletons booth, looking at Trash Talk, looking at It's Obvious, and look and being like, oh, this is cool. This looks really fun. Someone else will be like, yeah, I just played that over in the demo areas, or I just did the demo. It's super fun. If you buy it, I'll show you how to play it, or we can go to the open gaming hall, and we can play it. Me and my partner or my friends here, we're considering it, or we already bought a copy. Come with us or whatever, and you will make immediate friends. Because gaming is so social, and it's such a
it's a
different
shared
vibe.
experience.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
my first convention was Wizard World Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I definitely experienced both sides, and then shortly after that was Gen Con, because I didn't live far from there.
Right.
But I tell everybody, And it's not because we're on Gen Con TV here. We are not paid to say this. At least
That's
I'm
right.
not. Rick may be being paid.
We
I
are
don't
not.
know.
We are not.
Okay.
Gen Con is like no other convention that I have
Agreed.
ever been to.
Yep.
I have been to New York Comic Con. I've been to multiple New York Comic Cons.
Mhm.
I've worked multiple different comic conventions and done every sort
Mm-hmm.
of convention. And even compared to PAX Unplugged, which I will say is a very high quality show.
Agreed.
And I would highly recommend it for anybody as well. Gen Con is completely different. It's an experience unlike any other.
Yeah.
And it is that camaraderie. It's that I've been to Essen. Like Essen, not nearly as good as Gen Con. I know that those are fighting words, but I stand by that one. And it's
That's a good question for It's Obvious. Gen Con better than Essen? Gen Con not better than Essen.
Ooh, I'm writing it down right now. We did have a promo pack. One of the questions was, do you stack your board games vertically or horizontally?
Oh yeah. Vertical.
Display.
You display them?
He face fronts them.
I was gonna say, Mark, you just have more shelf space than anybody else in the world. So that's the
Down,
the
the ones down here are stacked. Like the ones that don't get any players.
stacked this way or this way?
They're flat. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Gen Con is just it's a whole different world. And it's just people are so nice, and people, for the most part, I won't say, it's everybody, but for the most part, the vibe is everybody is nice. Everybody wants to have a good time. You can literally get up at 2 a.m. and start gaming and then stop gaming, Monday at or Sunday at 6 p.m. Like you can game completely straight through the whole entire weekend, and it's just so cool, and everybody is welcoming and allows people to join in.
Yep.
And that's just the vibe. It's super cool. So yeah, I love that show. It was a dream of mine to even exhibit, and now we're a sponsor of Gen Con. So
nice,
super cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's super cool in that a lot of people also make lifelong friends at gaming conventions over Comic-Con. There's another good question. Gaming con better than Comic-Con or vice versa, right? Because I will say this: I enjoy San Diego, I enjoy New York Comic-Con, but I love Gen Con and other tabletop gaming conventions. I love them because, like you said, it is shared experiences. It is making new friends around that shared experience. It's getting excited over that new product or that new game that is just being presented for the first time at that show, or it's just the best.
Yeah,
the best.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I also like when you take someone who hasn't experienced Gen Con for the first time, right?
Yeah,
just watching their heads explode.
Well, I've had a lot of experiences too of that. This is a comic book person, and I'm taking them to Gen Con.
Yeah.
And it is always a situation. Every time that's happened, people are like, "Oh no, I know conventions. I've been to 47 Wizard Worlds," and it's like,
that's when you go. You don't know conventions. You just know Wizard Worlds.
Come to a Gen Con, experience the craziness.
That's right.
It's like the difference between PvP and co-op, really.
Well, wasn't last year your first Gen Con, Will?
It was my first Gen Con. To be fair, I've never been to a comic convention, so but I can't like the draw would be like the panels and whatnot, or waiting in line to spend a lot of money. If it wasn't for us having stuff to do on the floor, I would have just been too gobsmacked to really get much of anywhere. It's just wild.
Yeah. It's so cool.
Good.
Yeah, and it's cool as I was talking to one of our employees, and I was like, am I getting old in this industry? Because now, like, I go around Gen Con. I'm sure you feel this every year, Rick.
Yeah.
And it's just like who are they? Who's
Yeah.
this? I don't remember
Yeah.
them. What are they doing now?
Yep, there's a lot of that, and but that's another good sign that it's not going away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean the waiting list is probably only rivaled by San Diego Comic-Con as far as getting into exhibit at the show.
Yeah, I would
You
agree.
know?
Yep, it's a brilliant way to just bring and celebrate everything we love about our community, right? So cheers to Gen Con. Good job, everybody.
Hey.
We appreciate everybody that works over there. And speaking of which, we should probably show a little appreciation to the people that help make what we do here at Path of the Brush happen. So big shout out to Game Envy, who is the company that makes the brushes we use and the fun collapsible water cups that we rinse our brushes off in. And for me, if my overhead camera pops up miraculously, Revelio Pictoro. There, my magic is weak today.
We're both taking the controls there.
You dongles. So this weird looking wooden mat here is a dry brush mat. So this is also from Game Envy. They're a great company. Kip over there is amazing. We appreciate them. We also would like to shout out, obviously, the Friendly Skeleton for being here today with Jacob and talking about all the cool things that are really cool about the industry. Behind the curtain of how game publishing takes place and the things that you've done in the industry is super fun. So thank you for being here because you're also someone that helps make this show what it is. To all the paint companies out there, absolutely. And to all the paint companies out there, thank you. I'm currently and still using War Paint Fanatics from the Army Painter. And also to Hoplite Games. And of course, Gen Con and Gen Con TV, because if they didn't exist, we wouldn't be here spewing the chaos that we do every week. And it's kind of crazy to think that this is our 4th season of Path of the Brush. So it's pretty wild.
Is this 2.5 years or just because we got to be getting close?
I would think, yeah, something like that. 2.5 years. Yeah.
I heard the season finale, somebody gets voted off the island. Is that true?
It'll be the guest.
We're hoping to have the special effects budget to just shoot somebody at a wall out of a cannon.
I feel like there's got to be at least a filter or something for that on Twitch, right?
Right.
The filter for that.
I've been saving up all the cans and bottles that we can turn in for a dime to help raise the money for that cannon. So
again, such a Michigan thing here. Is it usually filled with only Michigan references? I like it.
we do have a lot of Michigan references. We also like the pay our respects to certain characters of importance. So like Sundar the Barbarian and his faithful friends Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel, big fans. Maple syrup and also Netflix.
A lot of John Carpenter references.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that is the extent of our knowledge too, is like pop culture, except for Will. I don't know what Will is drinking. I think he's taking that pill from that movie with Bradley Cooper, where he gets really smart.
I just take whatever pills I see in front of me. So maybe.
I think he's on that pill that makes him really smart.
Is the movie. Limitless is the movie.
Limitless. There it is.
Limitless.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of fun here, as everybody knows. And, of course, we paint. So let's take a look at what we've done so far today, because it is going to be a shorter episode today, because just so you guys know, I am on some really kick-butt diuretics right now because I'm an old man from the late 1900s.
He's putting comics on circle racks.
That's right. Back in the day, we just called them spinners.
I finished, so now I am the proud owner of 10 cents after I
10
finished.
cents.
Nice.
All
The
right.
town is
So
painted.
I have done the basing on the building here for the flames with the yellow. It'll get reds, oranges, and some blacks, and also on these little tower things.
Here, let's
I've also
pick
been
that out again. Let's,
Yep.
let's do that. There we
So
go.
there we go.
Bam!
So yeah, I put just based yellows on the flame things on the building and on these towers, but I've also been putting some metallic gunmetal paint on these like sconce holders, because on the packaging, which is kind of strange because this is obviously supposed to have a very Egyptian flair. There's the sandstone kind of look, and then there's these metallic accents all over it. So like on the back door here, this is all going to be metallic as well, and then gold on this thing here. So it's the detail. It's detail work now, because this is going to be a piece that we'll use here at the store, because we have a really big Marvel Crisis Protocol community. So we want to have nice terrain on the table and available for them. So we'll do
A technique question there, because I saw you started your fire. Do you start at yellow and then work down to reds and oranges?
So the yellow will be when it's all said and done, the yellow will be on the bottom, and I'll work it up into the reds, and then there will be some in the charcoal in the brazier will be mostly reds and black to look like that that weird flickering charcoal look where it's black, red, and a little bit of yellow.
Yeah, embers.
Yeah, the embers. Yeah. And so so that's how I'm going to do it. How about you, Will? How's things coming with your what is it? St. George and the Dragon?
Yeah. Well, my phone died, so I'm gonna have to bring it up.
Murdered.
Old school.
So I gotta be careful, as I don't want this thing to fall out. But I got a nice dark base coat on the Dragon, and I'm working.
Looks sick.
It's supposed to be
awesome.
in kind of a pool of lava. So
lava.
getting in the cracks with orange, and then I'm gonna darken it up. So it looks more like that black crusty bit over like the overlapping layers of liquid rock. So
Nice.
you can kind of see it in the way it was sculpted in there. So I'm having fun with that. And then my idea with the piece is I want to start orange and dark on the bottom and work up to a lighter blue with the to separate out the characters. So I'm putting out the horses blue, the character's going to be blue. I'll do some light colors underneath the cape, and I got a couple other options with the head that I still have to figure out which one I'm going to do. But that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. I love that it's kind of the 100 Kingdoms is kind of that classic, knight in shining armor. It's very 40-year-old virgin. It's like, now I paint your blue pants green, and here we go. So yeah, I actually got all the brown bits on these folks. So let's see. There they are. Bam.
Get in there.
Nice.
Then we got some flesh tone on it as well, and then the little skulls.
Oh yeah.
Little mask. So yeah, I'm just going to do some green for the other colors, and they've got some feathers on them as well and some fur. So I brush some of that stuff in, maybe hit a little bit wash here and there, and base them, and I think it's going to be pretty close to done. So
yeah, those guys are
That's
really
awesome.
coming alive. That looks great.
Yeah, better than just a gray object, So we do have another 2 units to do, but yeah, this will look way better on the table, right?
Yeah. I also would like to do one last shout out to one of my business partners, name's Jeff, because he did do the airbrush on the buildings for this model, and I'm doing the details. So thank you, Jeff, for doing that. Appreciate it, because it helped take a lot of time that if I would have done this, as we call it, with just the brush analog wise, it would take forever. But
Jeff will airbrush anything you put in front of him. You give him a watermelon, it'll be pink.
Pink.
Those are fighting words, Will. That watermelon was already pink.
That's right.
On the outside too.
Right. Jacob, where can everybody find all things about Friendly Skeleton?
So we will be at PAX Unplugged. where you can test some of or play some of our games like Trash Talk. The dumpster will be there. It is
Woo.
making an appearance.
All right.
Have dumpster will travel. And then we also have our website, which Mark put down there, friendlyskeleton.com. We're having
Nice.
a Black Friday sale.
Nice.
And on Monstrosity and Fantastic Factories, which are two great games if you do not have them in your catalog. And then, of
My
course,
family
we're on all
loves
of the
Fantastic
socials.
Factories, by the way. My kids are all about it.
Are you a monument guy, or are you more of a equal build kind of guy?
Depends on what I'm able to get my hands on.
Ooh, right answer.
Yeah.
Right answer. Yeah, I love that game. It's my favorite's actually in the expansion Manufactions. If you haven't played that yet, so good. But yeah, no. So our products are on All Play. Our sale is actually going to be at All Play's website. We're switching over our direct to consumer stuff to them.
Okay.
But you can also find us on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook as well. So
Nice.
yeah.
Very cool.
And if you're a designer and want to reach out, you can
Ooh.
always send a submission to our website. Hey.
All right. Well, I think that's one of the cool things about like doing these interviews here on Path of the Brush is we do try to get and ask the questions of like, what if someone were to come and pitch you a game, or what kind of games are you looking for, or and all that stuff, and get some behind, because I have people come all the time. Even I'm a guy who thinks he has an idea for a game, and I do. I have my ideas.
Some great ideas, Rick.
Well, thank you. But I think the big thing is there's so many good options to get your game published, because I get a lot of people tell me I want to self-publish. I go, don't. That's the first thing I tell them is don't. If you're a game designer, design games. There's so many great publishers already out there that have audiences, they have the experience, they have pools of artists that they've worked with and will continue to work with. So you don't have to worry about art assets or any of that stuff. Pitch your game. Let them take on the tariffs of the different countries and all the different costs of getting them on a container and all that, the logistics of getting them made and shipped and in the warehouse and then out to the retailers and consumers. Let the publishers handle that, because while they're handling all that, you're making your next great game. And all you have to do is go to your mailbox and go, weird, a check. I will catch this, and now it'll let me continue to do this fun thing I'm doing right now. So to all you potential game designers out there, pitch it to this guy.
First thing can say is no. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mailbox money, buddy.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Well, again, Jacob, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I would have loved to have had you here in studio, but the universe did not align perfectly for us. But I love it when you come down to the store, and we hope to get you down here again real soon.
Yeah. Well, I got to get eliminated for the season finale, so just let
someone
me know.
will. That'd be awesome.
Let me know when the canon's aligned and all.
Will do. Mark, Will, again, also thank you too for everything you do to help make this show awesome. And to all of you watching, we appreciate you, and we hope that you found some cool information and learn more about Friendly Skeleton today than you will ever need to know, except there's going to be so much more. So make sure you're following all their socials. Until next time, I'm Rick.
I'm Will.
I'm Mark.
Oh, I'm Jacob.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. And until next time, we'll see you and hopefully see you at a friendly local game store.